Greetings, everyone, and welcome once again to another Wednesday night edition of the Sports Krib. As you can see, our usual banners running down the front there. You can subscribe and donate to us so we can stay on the air. I would like to announce, I think we are at 167 subscribers now and growing. So thank you very much for your support. And let's get this show on the road. I see Dave is down here all ready to go. Dave, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing all right, getting ready for my trip, but I do have a Sue's Corner, so
Oh well,
ready to go.
Don't tease us, you know.
All right.
We're ready.
You want me to do Sue's Corner now?
Oh yeah, let's
I'll jump
we
right
haven't
in.
had Sue's Corner for a while. We're chopping at the bit here.
Yeah. She was saying that there wasn't a whole lot other than the NFL, but anyway, she says a feel-good tennis story. Last weekend at one of the major tennis tournaments of the year, outside of the Big Four, in a historic final, French cousins Arthur Rinderknecht and Valentin Vachereau competed against each other at the Shanghai Masters, with Vachereau defeating Rinderknecht to win the title. Cousins had never met in a final before. Vachereau, ranked number 204, won the match with a score of 4-6, 6-3, 6-3 after an impressive run that included a semifinal victory over Novak Djokovic. That's a big upset there.
Yeah.
The Dream Undreamable. That's the title that first came to mind when Arthur Rinderknecht was asked to describe the story that's been written over the past week and a half at the Rolex Shanghai Masters. The 30-year-old lined up a remarkable final between cousins at the ATP Masters 1000 event after a qualifier Valentin Vachereau earlier made his way through by defeating Djokovic. For his part, Rinderknecht also knocked out a former event winner in Daniel Medvedev. Even in the biggest dream, we couldn't have dreamt about this. So it's a dream that couldn't even exist at the beginning. I don't even know where it comes from, how it happened, he reflected in the mixed sun. I guess we must have done something good to the people around us to deserve to experience something like this, because it's incredible. Yes. So it's a cool little story.
Yeah, would you say the kid was 20 something? 204? You said he was 204?
He was ranked number 204. Yeah. The guy that upset Djokovic. But Djokovic has been ailing. I think he has an injury, but still, that's a big upset.
He's getting a little older now too to be running. You know, it's a lot of strain on those legs and thighs and whatnot. So. Don, how you doing this evening? How's everything down there in Texas?
Unseasonably warm, but it's good. We're good.
Okay, all right. Did you get to the game this week?
I didn't go. I was actually in the wedding. I was at a wedding in Reynosa, Mexico, so I was watching it on Hulu on my phone. Yes, during the church service, I was watching it, but I had it on mute, so it's okay. No, I got to go down to Mexico for a wedding for my wife's family, and it was good. But yeah, I watched everything. I watched everything on Hulu, and it was good to be a Longhorn this week.
Bill, how's everything?
Trying to crank out some articles. I got 3 articles to finish up in the next Several hours.
Oh, well, hey, All right. Well, let's see what's happening here. So, oh, you guys. I don't have either one of my baseball guys here. That I thought Bo would be here to celebrate the Mariners. Uh, Mariners are up 2-0. Dodgers up 2-0. What do you think? Is that going to be the World Series? I see you shaking your head, Don. You think so?
The Dodgers going to win it all. So
Okay.
good answer.
Bill, what's the handwriting on the wall for you, Bill?
While I think it won't be an easy, I think that it won't just be a sweep. I think there'll be at least one or two, pride wins. But I think Don's essentially right. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to come down to those two teams, Seattle and Los Angeles. All West Coast.
Who you picking?
Well, it's hard to pick the $1 billion lineup, isn't it? I mean,
they paid for
it. Hey, you can't tell. The Yankees are sitting at home, though, Bill.
Yeah, but they're spending admittedly, more than a lot of teams, but they're $400 and something odd million behind the Dodgers in terms of salary. So the Dodgers are in their own tier by themselves.
I think Ohtani gets more money than some of the whole teams, right?
There's 3 franchises that their entire roster makes less average per year than he does.
Hey.
Pittsburgh's one of them, right, Bill?
And that is one of them, correct. That is one of them.
Yeah. It would be that one instead of some of the other things, but hey, I guess we have to take what we can. So then, let's see, there's not a lot of baseball to talk about. I guess we'll talk about a little football anyway. Maybe we can get out on time tonight, Dave. What do you think? So, go ahead, Dave. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying I like it.
Bill, Indiana, they're in the top 3 now.
And deservedly so.
We were talking about Indiana before. Why don't you give us a little quick rundown?
Well, I actually wrote something a couple weeks ago saying, "Is Indiana this year's Indiana?" And it turns out maybe I'm right. So it's always nice to feel smart. First of all, as Kurt Signetti said, Google me. The guy wins every place he's been. Now, admittedly, he spent a lot of his career at Division II and then eventually worked his way up to James Madison. But he's right. He's won every place he's been. And this is one of the things when people whine about NIL, I point to this. Without NIL, without the transfer portal, Indiana doesn't get to be. I mean, Kurt Signetti is a big old shot of espresso. But without the ability to flip your roster as quickly as they have, I think 39% of the 2-deep roster are players that 2 years ago were playing football someplace else besides high school, not counting high school. So playing either at James Madison or some other program someplace else. So I'm not one of those people, especially if you claim to be like a libertarian or a free market person. You've got to love it, right? I mean, now the marketplace is truly open. If you're a person that says you're into free markets and you're into libertarian stuff, this is what you want. You want coaches have always had this, but now players can take advantage of the free market. And that's why Indiana is now Indiana, this version of Indiana, not the Indiana where, like, when Bill Mallory won 8 games, they would carry him off on their shoulders, right? Remember those days? 8 games, we won 8 games, right? I mean, that was pop the bottles in Bloomington not that long ago. And as most of us already know, it was 1949, the last time that they won a Big Ten title. And to put it in perspective, Ted Kluszewski was on the football team, okay? For baseball fans, he was a fullback and a linebacker. at Indiana the last time they won a Big Ten title. So
would you say 1949?
yeah, Ted Kluszewski was on the team.
Yeah.
Big Clue.
I was 2.
Yeah, there you go. That's perspective. So that's the last time they won a Big Ten title. This is their best chance since the halcyon year of 1949. George Taliaferro was on that team also, but that was that was it. I mean, sort of for them in terms of football Big Ten titles, and now they have a chance to do it again. I think it's great, and I've been a fan of Cignetti for years. I watched PSAC football, so I knew who Kurt Cignetti was a while back, and I'm excited about this program. I'm excited, and they have a legit defense. I think they're the second best defense in the Big Ten. Ohio State still has the best defense in the Big Ten. Their Ohio State's defense is ridiculous, but number 2, in my opinion, is Indiana's defense, particularly because of that front. They have a Big Ten. Even if they were an SEC team, maybe Auburn's better, maybe, but their front's better than Georgia's. I'm sorry, it is. It's better than Alabama's. Sorry, Don, it's better than Texas. It's better than Oklahoma. I mean, maybe Texas A&M's better. I mean, there's maybe 2 SEC schools with a better defensive front than theirs. That's how good that defensive front is, and I knew that. My question was about other things, like their offense, especially their offensive line, running backs, wide receivers. Well, I like Roland Hemby. I knew he'd be good. But the depth at that position, the receivers who turned out to be better than I thought they'd be. But I always knew they'd be really solid in terms of that defensive line. And then the secondary has stepped up. So they're going to be in trouble. They're going to whoever has to play them in the playoffs, strap it up. That is a legit team, and they can make a deep run.
All right. Well, Don, seems Texas is back in graces again. What are they? Number 21, I think.
Yeah.
So Arch got his swag back. What's going on down there in Texas?
Well, so you brought up Arch. The one thing I noticed about Arch, for the first time this year, he looked happy. He looked like he was having fun. Last year when he came in and started those 2 games for Quinn Ewers, he had fun. But since he's been a starter, he really hasn't been having fun. Just as look at his body language. But I think a lot of demons were exercised against Oklahoma. So we have that. And going back to Indiana, I just want to mention that I think the clocks will strike midnight because I think Penn State's going to be still in their staff. I think Penn State will be taking Cincinnati, maybe. Just my opinion. So, but Texas has Kentucky this week. Of course, the SEC, you can't take anything too much for granted. In past years, Kentucky really hasn't upset anyone, but they've always playing close. I think Georgia beat them by 3 points or something like last year. So you cannot overlook guys like Kentucky. And it is SEC. It's on the road. It's a night game. The moonshine will be flowing in Kentucky. So there you
go. The clear moonshine or the dark moonshine?
I think they only drink clear moonshine in Kentucky. I don't know.
Okay.
I think Tennessee adds colors to theirs, but Kentucky, I think it's clear. Why do I know? I don't drink that stuff. What am I?
They got programs on TV now, Don. the Distill Masters, or whatever it's called. I mean, they do everything now. They make moonshine, they make swords, whatever you want to watch. They can make it for you. A tree house, whatever. Speaking of a tree house, Dave, Penn State, what's going on, man? I mean, I guess we were talking about throwing around money. That buyout is, but doesn't seem like it phases them any.
Yeah, I thought that they would wait till the end of the season, but with the loss, they also after the loss to UCLA, they had one of the top recruiting classes in the country. Well, right after the UCLA loss, Khalil Taylor, wide receiver prospect, he dropped out. Almost within minutes, it seemed like, after they announced his firing, they lost 6 others. And it just basically wiped out their recruiting class. So Keemon Spell, 5-star offensive tackle, Leighton Von Brandt, linebacker Gabe Jenkins. And so really Penn State, Don had mentioned, well, hey, Penn State may be rating their staff. What they have to find, they got to find a head coach, but they have to find somebody that's going to be able to be a prime recruiter, because they're going to have to rebuild. They lost their quarterback for the season, and now they're going to be losing a lot of their top players this year, and then they just lost their recruiting class. So it's going to be a huge challenge for whoever replaces Franklin. $48 million buyout, and I think the only one that exceeded it was when was it Texas that bought out
A&M, Jimbo
or
Fisher.
Texas A&M for like over $70 million.
Yeah,
But this is the second largest
72 mil,
buyout.
Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah. So basically, the way athletic director Pat Kraft, he said, hey, we need to have a change. And, they want to be in the hunt for Big Ten championships and for the national championship. And Franklin had a great record, except against ranked teams. And that's what, I think I mentioned that they were like 4-20 against like top 10 ranked teams. They had a horrendous record against top 10 ranked teams. And, well, it came home to roost, and I guess they decided to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to be very interested to see who does take Franklin's place, because he was a good recruiter. He recruited a lot of talent to Penn State. He did win a lot of games for them, and so there's expectations. And they thought this year they got the defensive coordinator from Ohio State.
Right, they're ready.
And they thought that they were right in line. I never thought that they would be national champion, but I thought that they were going to be like a top 6 team for sure. And the bottom has just fallen out. So I would basically say it's safe to stick the fork into the 2025 Penn State prospects.
Nittany Lions, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they needed to blow out Northwestern and basically win out convincingly, and to lose to Northwestern. I mean, not disrespecting their program, but they should not have been in the same league as Penn State.
Yeah. Okay. Like you said, though, I thought that they would wait until after the season, but I guess once they lost their quarterback, there was really no need in trying to beat that dead horse. So, because I mean they had brought back a lot of talent from last year, and a lot of people were thinking that this would be Penn State's year, but hey, that's how the ball bounces, I guess.
Yeah.
The Titans also have fired their head coach, Mr. Callahan. Who do you think can make the Titans relevant again? There's rumblings that Mr. Belichick might be out at North Carolina. Any guys you see heading toward Penn State, Bill? Let me unmute you. Anybody? Any of you guys you see in particular heading toward the Titans, Bill?
I mean, probably not any of the people you're thinking. It's more likely to be Mike LaFleur than it is to be some old retread. The trend has been really against older coaches, even ones who really want to coach and really have a lot left in the tank. I want to keep beating the Jim Caldwell drum, but this guy's been interviewing. He's won once again, Google him. He's won every place he's been, including places where nobody wins, right? He won at Vanderbilt, speaking of Vanderbilt, right? He won at Detroit where nobody won. He has a winning record as a coach. Had some health problems, has put them behind him, really would like to coach. Can't seem to get the opportunity. I think he would do well there, but they're going to go young. It's going to be who's left off of that old Washington staff that Shanahan was on. I think the last one left who hasn't been a head coach is Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother. I think he's the last member of that staff that has, except for the special team guy, that hasn't been a coach yet. So probably Mike LaFleur. Everybody wants a young QB guru, and teams don't seem to learn that doesn't always work. For whatever reason, they keep thinking, well, it'll work this time. So, yeah, it'll be some 38-year-old QB guru. Pick one.
Yeah. Now, I knew that, in Pittsburgh, they were reporting that Arthur Smith was on a list, but this was a list of 23 candidates. So, I don't think that was a very serious prospect, but I would see them probably hiring offensive, defensive coordinators somewhere in the leagues, somebody that has experience, probably younger, the way Bill is describing. I think that Arthur Smith will eventually get another head coaching opportunity. I just hope it's not next year. I'd like him to stick around Pittsburgh for a couple more years.
Okay. What's your thoughts here, Don? They think they're going to go young, or they're going to go, bring back one of these older guys?
Well, if you want a young guy, there's a guy here in Texas that I'm real high on. His name is Rhett Ashley. He's the guy at SMU. He's SMU guys. They were in the depths, and their facilities aren't anything spectacular, but he has recruited well. He's beaten Texas for some recruits, believe it or not. And he's young. He's a guru, as they say. I think he would be a good fit at Penn State because he knows Texas. He can recruit Texas. Whenever a big job comes open, a guy named Matt Rule always comes to mind. But I don't know. I don't know if Penn State would be considered a promotion from Nebraska, or if that's a lateral move, because in Nebraska, you have Nebraska. I mean, that Nebraska is. I mean, there's might be another like Division II team there. I don't know, but Nebraska, you've been sold out. Even when they're terrible, they're sold out. So I don't know if that would be like I said, a lateral move or a promotion. And I don't know if Matt Rule would leave Nebraska. Who knows? And then, of course, the guy at Indiana who I just mentioned earlier, I mean, that guy will be able to pick any job he wants. Now, he might want to stay at Indiana because Indiana, I mean, I guess, weather, all things being even, I think the weather in Pennsylvania is probably same as Indiana when it gets to cold winter. But
it's not that much different, believe me,
But Indiana, you're it in Indiana, and at Penn State you got to compete with Pittsburgh, and Temple's right down the corner. So I mean, there's other schools that you have to kind of look out for. So I don't know. I don't know if they would go look for rated staff on the NFL, or if they go to the college level. There's some good coaches I know. At the non Power 5 schools who might be worth a look, but I don't know. I think the guy at SMU would be a great fit, but he might like SMU better.
Are you talking about for Penn State or for Tennessee?
I thought we were talking about Penn State.
Oh no, we're talking about Tennessee.
We've been talking about both. I think a little bit, but with Penn State. Yeah, and one thing I'd mentioned, Don, is that Penn State really, they're recruiting. They recruit a lot in New Jersey. They recruit pretty much nationally. They get a lot of players from Ohio, all over, and so recruiting wise, they compete with Ohio State on recruiting. They compete with a lot of these other national programs, and it'll be one of the difficulties with Penn State is it's out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's just nothing around it, and that's for a lot of kids from the city. That sometimes that's a tough sell.
My senior year, we played Penn State at State College, 1990, and I remember walking on that field, and that was the most beautiful, softest turf I've ever been on. I've been on a lot of football fields, but Penn State, that thing was, it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's still beautiful. I mean, you got the Nittany Mountains in the background, and they got a great fan base. It kind of reminded me of College Station, where A&M is located, but A&M, I mean, College Station is an ugly town. It's flat, it's humid, mosquitoes and that. But State College, crisp mountain air. It might get a little cold in the winter, but I mean, I could live in that part of Pennsylvania.
Right. Well,
it gets a little cold down there, Don.
I think what's going to be tough for them is they're going to be looking for a coach that wants to Penn State that wants to stick around. From 1950 to 2000, they had like two head coaches. You had Rip Engel, and then you had Joe Paterno. I mean, they talk about Pittsburgh, the Steelers being ridiculous for 3 since 1969. Penn State was like that up until Joe Paterno left. They had the scandal with the pedophilia, with Sandusky, and that just really set the program back. And it seemed like they had recovered, and now they got to move forward again. But I don't think that they're going to want to coach. It's only going to be coming in there for like 3 or 4 years and then plan on leaving. They want somebody long term.
Dave, the Redbirds find themselves at 1-5. Is Harbaugh on the hot seat?
Well, I mean, with the fans, absolutely. The fans want him gone. And, the thing is that their owner, the Ravens owner, Stephen Bisciotti, not many people hear about him. He's pretty low profile guy, but Harbaugh came close to losing his job a few seasons ago, and that just happened to be whenever they drafted Lamar Jackson. And that kind of saved his job right there. But Bisciotti has shown patience. One of the things that the Ravens were facing is the parity in scheduling, where the first place teams have to play the other first place teams. So they were playing Buffalo, they were playing Kansas. They had a very, very tough schedule here at the beginning of the season. Their schedule is going to start to get easier. They do play Pittsburgh twice in December. But I would tend to say Bisciotti's track record, I would see him giving him the season and then see what happens in the second half of the season. They're 1-5. That sounds terrible, but they got 11 more games to play. And if they climb back into it, then he could save his job. But I think, really the question is the owner, is Bisciotti, and he's shown patience in the past.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thank God we're the only 5-1 team. My dream catchers work here. my dreams have come true. We're still in the running. So, guys, I don't know. I think maybe it was nationally, maybe it was just regionally, but I had a chance to watch that Miami game. and I saw the remarks that Tua made, and then what Coach McDaniels had to say the next day. Uh, Don, you're a team player here. Do you think that Tua was right to air the Finn's dirty laundry out in public? Maybe for shock effect? What's your thoughts there? Should he have kept it to himself, or as some people are saying, the coach should have been aware of this before he made him?
Well, as a rule, I don't think players should talk about things. The players shouldn't call out other players or coaches. I understand they're all professional, getting paid to do it, they're getting paid, so they feel like they're entitled. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, I know that late in his career, Troy Aikman voiced some concerns about Barry Switzer at Dallas, but Tua's not Troy Aikman. He doesn't have the the degrees on the wall like Troy Aikman had. He's not that kind of player. I like Tua, but he's not Troy Aikman. So it just depends on who's saying it and what's being said and how it's said. But for generally, I don't like players doing that. That's never good. Nothing good ever comes out of it.
What do you think? What do you think, David? I mean, if he's telling the truth, I mean, maybe that's he figured, like I said, maybe that was the only platform he had left. Maybe he felt his what he was saying was going on deaf ears within the organization.
Well, then you're kind of laying a marker down, because then it becomes it's him or it's me. One of us has to go, and that's kind of the thing. And now part of it may depend on how McDaniels reacts to it. So, like for example, Mike Tomlin, he's very well known for whatever the players want to say, they can have at it. He believes that hey, they're adults, they should be able to say what's on their mind, and he has a resiliency to accept it. Other coaches, they see that as a threat to team cohesion, and they react badly whenever a coach or a player speaks out like that. And I think a lot of this depends on, okay, how does McDaniels react to this? And it could be that they end up shaking hands and they move forward and it's not a problem. On the other hand, it could become, hey, either you get rid of him or trade me. Do one or the other. And that's not, that's, and I think that's what Don was getting to. That's just not a good thing. Mm-hmm. Once you have players basically trying to dictate who's going to be coaching them.
Bill, what's your thoughts on? We're talking about Tua's remarks after the game, and as Dave said, McDaniel's reaction to it. Plus, the sports world. Period. What's your thoughts there?
Well, I think the most interesting response was Deshaun Hamilton, right? Who briefly was a Dolphin after his career at Penn State, who stated apparently that Tua himself has been late to meetings before. So there was many layers to all of this. And, for those that remember, over Tua, there was a, Kumite, two-man enter, one-man leaves confrontation between Brian Flores and, still their GM, Chris Grier. And, of course, Grier emerged, and Flores has, been defensive coordinator since then. The fact is that I think the most interesting thing is that the knock on Tua coming out was that he had all the physical stuff, but people weren't sure if he was vocal enough. Remember that? Was he too soft-spoken? Was he too nice? Right? That was one of the knocks on Tua coming out, for those who remember his pre-draft process. So clearly, something has changed. And maybe it's the stuff he went through with Tyreek Hill. Who knows? But he clearly has decided he's not going to hold his tongue, which he did earlier in his career. He was very, sort of yes sir, no sir. I mean, you didn't get much out of Tua, controversy-wise, at least early in his career. But now he's apparently willing to take the bull by the horns. I don't know exactly the inner workings of his relationship with either the general manager or the head coach. Once again, I know the general manager himself has survived like I said, a octagon situation in the past for his job. So it'll be interesting to see, one, how the Dolphins finish the season, right? Because if the Dolphins get hot and win, this will all just go away, right? That's how this happens. You suddenly win 8 out of 9 and nobody remembers any of this stuff. It's all like the morning dew, it just evaporates. Now, if they end up going 5-12, a lot of people are losing their jobs, right? I mean, maybe everyone is gone. McDaniel is a guy who essentially, I don't know the young man, but he was always sort of a lively sort. Some of his, his dauber seems down, whatever term you want to use. Like he seems kind of beaten, for lack of a way of putting it a little bit. Looks like I don't think he's mailing it in or anything, but I'm sure he's still working hard, but he looks like his heart is in it to me. I mean, I remember when he was an assistant coach before, and even early in his days as a head coach there in Miami, he's an extremely, upbeat, lively, funny individual. And of course, obviously, stress. He's aging like a wartime president. I mean, he was one of those super young head coaches, and yeah, he's starting to look like, FDR halfway through the last term. So, something's going to happen, right? I mean, and once again, unless they get hot, right? If something get hot, then it's all just disappears. But if that doesn't happen, yes, at least one of the people we've named will be gone, and maybe all of them.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens down in Miami. All right, guys, we're going to play a little game. It's called Diamonds or Cubic Zirconia. And I think we'll start out the team. I'm going to let everybody kind of participate in this first one because we saw the Giants and they actually held the Eagles scoreless in the second half. Scatterboo rushed for over 3 touchdowns, that is. So what do you think there, Bill? We're talking about the Giants. Diamonds or cubic zirconium?
Yes, I'm a huge fan of Cam Scatterbo and have been since before he even transferred. Back when he was at Portland State, I was a fan of his. But they are very much cubic zirconia for 2 reasons. First of all, I mean, we all hear this. Like, more games are lost than won. The Eagles were just a circus of mistakes. I mean, just bizarre, almost humorous mistakes. They essentially gift wrapped, monogrammed, and mailed that game to the Giants. So I don't think the Giants are a contender, if that's what you're asking. Not this year. They have some good young pieces. And if they continue to draft well, they very well could be a good team. But they're not there yet.
Okay. So it's cubic zirconia for you.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Dave.
Yeah, I don't think they're diamonds. I think, one of the difficult, I love this Scatterboo. I mean, he's just like a tank. But, here's the question is, how long can he sustain that? If we're talking beyond this season. And
he might be Frank Gifford. Who knows?
Well, the problem with it is that other teams adapt, and the Giants had the Eagles running back, and teams learned just to swarm him so that he was non-productive, and then once he went to the Eagles and there's other weapons, well then I'm talking about Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
He was much more productive, and I think it remains to be seen is how durable is Scatterboo. But I think that they're building the blocks in the right way. You got to build the team. I don't think it's going to happen this year. But let's see how they do in the trenches. If they build their defensive line, their offensive line, they may be a developing team. But right now, no, I wouldn't call them a diamond for sure.
Come on, Don.
So I'm going to throw a third option in there. The Giants are a chunk of coal. As you know, after time, with lots of pressure, a chunk of coal will become a diamond. And I think, like Bill was saying, if they continue to draft well, get some support, beef up their, the offensive line and everything, I think they'll be diamonds. But so they're not cubic zirconians. They're a little bit better than that. I think they're chunks of coal.
Okay, all right. Then let's Don, we'll start you with the next one here. Coming off a win over the Bills, the Pats have now won 3 in a row. You have Drake May. He threw 3 touchdowns in their win over the Aints. So Don, the Patriots, diamonds or cubic zirconium?
I think they're on their way to become diamonds. Only because, like I said, the Patriots were, they have been very lukewarm since Brady left, and but I think they're slowly building back up, and I don't know if they're going to be in the playoffs or not. That's a hard thing to fathom, but you went 3 in a row in this league. That's pretty good. So I'm going to say they're diamonds.
Bill.
Well, if I'm allowed to steal Don's line, I guess they're sort of halfway between coal and diamonds. They were truly terrible not that long ago. I thought they had the worst roster in the NFL last season.
Yep.
And Drake Lee May definitely made some chicken salad last year. His best receiver was DeMario, a.k.a. Pop Douglas, last year. Now they brought in Diggs, and Keyshawn Butte is almost looking like he cares about football again. So that's exciting. So if they're able, once again, some things we just said about the Giants, keep adding pieces. But Drake Lee May, and I've been talking about him for a while now, is going to be a star in this league. He is, by this time next year, I think he'll be a top 6 to 8 quarterback, and then another year after that, he'll be a top 4 or 5 quarterback. He's got a lot of the aspects that a guy like Joe Burrow has, but he's bigger, stronger, faster, and has a bigger arm than Burrow. Unlike Burrow, he came out early, right? Burrow was a 5-year guy. May was a 3-year guy, true junior. So developmentally, he's a couple of years behind where Burrow was at the same point in the NFL. But give him a couple more years. Watched his dad at Carolina, Mark May. His brother, of course, was on the national championship in North Carolina. He had a sister who was a pitcher, a brother who was a pitcher. A very athletic family, obviously. A terrific basketball player at Winter Park High School in Florida. He is a special player. And if they continue to build around him, they are going to be a very good football team. They're probably a sort of wild card-esque team now. But give them, if they can, once again, the caveat being if they continue to draft well and put the right pieces around him, I think they're going to supplant the Bills eventually if they keep building.
So you're saying they're halfway between a diamond?
Yeah, they're not quite. I mean, if by diamond you mean one of those teams that's going to be like a Final Four team or a team that wins, playoff games.
Just get to the playoffs.
They could get to the playoffs this year. Like I said, probably as a wild card team. But I mean, yeah, I could see them making the playoffs this year.
Okay. Dave.
Yeah, I would call him a diamond in the rough. And
there we go.
The thing is everything that Bill said about Derek May. We're watching the development of an NFL quarterback before our eyes. And I attribute a lot of that to Mike Vrabel and a stable ownership group that doesn't over interfere. I think Mike Vrabel's a good coach, and I think that he's helped the team by stabilizing their defense, and they're putting things into place to succeed. In Kraft, I think he's demonstrated as an owner he'll spend money to put talent around there. So I think all of those things, and then you look at their division. They got the Jets and they got the Dolphins that are just Chernobyling, right? And so really their only competition right now there is Buffalo, and they just beat them. So I would call them a diamond in the rough.
All right. Okay. Staying with you, Dave. Rico Dowd, he not only talked the talk, but he walked the walk against Jerry's guys. Rico had 238 all-purpose yards and 30 rushes for 189 yards. The Panthers, Dave, Diamonds or cubic zirconium?
I'm more on the zirconium side. I think that if he had done all that against Dallas, when Dallas still had who's your guy that went to the Packers there, Don?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, if he
Parsons.
did that with Michael Parsons on the Cowboys defense, I might be singing another tune. But I still gonna have to show me. So
Well, he
call
was on the Cowboys then, though.
Huh?
He was on the Cowboys then. He was the leading rusher for the Cowboys then. when Michael Parsons was there.
Okay, I got mixed up.
But you're talking about with him in Carolina, not him in Dallas. They were teammates in Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But no, he said I was just saying when he was with Dallas.
Right, Dave was saying he would be more impressed if he'd done it against Dallas when Dallas had Parsons.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Correct. And so, I mean, for that reason, they're going to have to show me. If he continues, one time is an event. I want to see a pattern. Do this 2-3 times in a row. Now maybe we have a pattern established. But the Dallas defense, I mean, it's not as if he did it against the Cleveland Browns, which has a really good run defense.
Bill, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm keep stealing people's terms. They're not quite a diamond yet, and they're not quite cold. Now, last year, I thought they were this. Once again, I mentioned the Patriots had the worst roster, in my opinion, in the NFL last year. They had the second worst, the Panthers, last year, in my opinion. Their whole offense was Chuba Hubbard last year. I mean, Chuba Hubbard had a terrific year, but nobody noticed because they were so terrible around him. I think he had maybe over 16. I think he had over 1,300 yards rushing and another 300-something yards receiving for over 1,600, flirting with 1,700 total yards, scrimmage yards. But nobody cared and nobody knew because the team was so utterly awful. And now he's hurt. And what that would have meant basically turning out the lights. Last year, they're still able to win games with Hubbard hurt. So that tells you they're on the upswing as a franchise. They still have a lot of work to do, though, as Dave, I think, was pointing out. Their secondary is an adventure, is the term I would use. They have some good pieces on the D-line. They have a couple of good young offensive linemen. They're a young team also. I mean, that's young almost everywhere. They have a little sprinkling of veterans that came through free agency, but they're very young. They have a young quarterback, young wide receivers, a young tight end. They're young almost every place. A couple of veteran offensive linemen they got through free agency. A couple of veterans on defense that got through free agency, but most of the players on this team have been in the league 3 years or less. I think over half of the 2 deep have 3 or fewer years of NFL experience. So they're a very young franchise. So I'm going to say, I don't know, cubic zirconia in the rough. I don't know. I mean, they're not quite ready to make a playoff run. They're not this year, at least. No, even in the very winnable NFC South, they're not quite ready to contend.
Don, what's your thoughts there? Cubic zirconiums or diamonds in the rough?
I think they're cubic zirconians just because, like I said, yeah, you beat Dallas, but you have to show a little bit more. In my view, you have to keep it. Win some more games and prove that you belong there into that diamond category, the diamond level, as they say in Amway. But but yeah, they just need to continue to draft well and play well. But they're still cubic zirconians in my opinion.
Okay. Don, Jerry said that his guys are still in it. What is it, Don? In what? What are they in? I mean, I don't understand. In it? What in doo doo? I mean, what's he mean?
I have no idea what Jerry Jones means. I know he okay. This is a guy who said he claims he accidentally flipped off the crowd. Remember? He gave him the finger and said, "Oh, that was I accidentally did that." So that tells me that dementia is starting to set in. But just to kind of preempt Dallas, they're cubic zirconians. If that was the next question.
No.
Well, I'm on record. They're cubic zirconians.
No, I was just wondering what he meant when he said that they were in it.
I have no idea what he meant.
But he did say that there are rumors that Dallas is looking for help on the defense.
Well, no shit.
I tell you what, they found themselves a wide receiver with George Pickens. He's been lighting it up.
Well, but now you got to remember that's Pickens when there's no CeeDee Lamb. We didn't when Pickens was the primary target here. We didn't have a lot of problems out of him either. It's when he
James,
started.
I can confirm that they need help on the defense, and the source is me.
Huh?
I said I can confirm that Dallas needs help on defense, and the source is me.
Well, maybe you can explain what does "in it" mean. I know. In military terms, when they say that you're deep in it, I know what that means.
I think what he meant to say is I miss Emmett. As Don pointed out, maybe the years are starting to chip away a little bit. Do they have like a 25th Amendment for NFL owners? Are you allowed to remove them via vote? Is that something you can do? I have to. Don, look into the bylaws of the Cowboys. Organize a meeting.
But Bill, I do have a question for you though. And the Bears, they got a quality win over the Commanders. So are the Commanders who we thought they were?
I mean, yes and no. They are playing a tougher schedule this year than they did last year because, well, that's what the NFL does, right? You're a better team this year. And while he's healthy enough, you can tell that Jaden's not 100% back, but he's close. He's probably about 80-ish%. But the main issue is their defense. And that was their issue last year, too, for those that watched the Commanders. So the Commanders have not yet fixed. Speaking of people need to add some pieces on defense, they have not fixed that defense yet. They are still missing an actual, I'm going to use the term shutdown corner. If they had a lockdown or whatever, they don't even need that. If they had a guy who was basically the same level as, I don't know, who's a good, solid, but somewhat average corner? I mean, they'd love to get a Patrick Surtain, but they don't even need. I mean, that would be too much to ask. But if you could get just a guy Just a good, solid,
Slay.
professional corner who knows what not to do, right? Somebody's knowing what not to do is almost more important than what to do. They gave up some plays last night that just made no sense. Just made zero. Not last night. It was Lord Bill. Monday night. That's what happens when Monday's a holiday. It throws me off. It made no sense. They should have probably won that game about 3 separate occasions. But then, of course, Chicago kept giving the game back. Like, both teams seemed not to want to win that game at various times. But their defense is going to be their undoing. They are not a serious contender to win it all until they do something about the state of their defense. Marshawn Lattimore is not the Marshawn Lattimore of a couple of years ago. I would put him at somewhere below the middle line now amongst NFL corners. Now, maybe that's a temporary thing. Maybe he's still, I don't know. I've watched him all year and then watched the All-22 to make sure I wasn't, going out of my mind. And he's been a step slow. He's looked hesitant, even lost at times. I don't know what it is. This is a guy that was a top 4 or 5 corner not that long ago. So he's lost something off his fastball. They don't really have another corner. I mean, they have a guy who lines up at the other position, don't get me wrong, but I mean, no one that you worry about, no one that you're afraid to go against. The best player in their secondary is usually Mike Sanders still, and he's had a bad year, right? And had a bad game on top of it. Their pass rush it's there. In fact, I would say it's probably the best part of their defense. Is not saying a lot, but Daron Payne is a very good football player. If Chase Young had become what people thought he was going to be and they'd held on to him, like they need that guy, right? The guy that everyone thought Chase Young might be. They need that guy, that mismatched pass rusher. They don't have that guy.
No, they don't.
The closest they had to him was Montez Sweat, and they let him go.
Yeah. Dave, it was a really unique situation when we played the Browns. We were coming off a bye, and they were coming off a game in Europe. And I thought that we should, I appreciate the win, but I thought that we should have done much better. I mean, that's only the second time in NFL history, I believe, that's happened. That one team coming off a bye and the other team coming off. Usually those are games where you expect the team that's coming from Europe to be down, but I do, I appreciate the point that we held them to 9 points, but once again, I thought we should have looked better. We're playing Cincinnati Thursday, but then after that, our schedule gets a little tougher. I believe our next 2 games are the Packers and is it the Packers and so I forget.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, Indianapolis being 5-1, Packers 4-2. Go ahead. What's your thoughts? What did you take away from the game? We're 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, and I've mentioned this before, if not last week, the week before, Cleveland was really given a horrible schedule where they had an away game against Detroit. Then their home game was in London against the Minnesota team that was already there for 2 weeks. And then they traveled to Pittsburgh coming off a bye. I mean, that's just not a fair schedule. That's imparity or disparity, excuse me. And I think that's my objection to the international games that they insist, but they're going to continue with it. But in the game itself, I think what showed was that Pittsburgh had a better game plan on both offense and defense. On offense, like the very first play, everybody in that stadium was expecting a run. Cleveland was expecting to run out of the jumbo package with Spencer Anderson in there and Mount Washington. and they just hit Mount Washington, who went for 36 yards. And that just showed that, hey, I mean, Pittsburgh had the better game plan. On defense, what they did is they deployed T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith coming back off of injury, Nick Herbig, 3 outside linebackers on the field at the same time, because they wanted to. And Nick Herbig he was announced as a 12th starter whenever they were making the announcements, whenever they were coming onto the field. And they really bottled up Judkins. That was my concern. But once they stopped him, he came into that game averaging 5 yards a carry. He had 12 carries for 36 yards. And then that meant that Dylan Gabriel went back to pass 58 times. He was sacked 6 times. They had 4 near interceptions. The game was never the score doesn't indicate the closeness of the game. It wasn't that close at all. It was never. The fans in the stadium were never like in panic mode. So I would say it was a decisive victory. I think that in this case, the Steelers outcoached them and the players out-executed them all around the board. David Njoku, he got hit over the middle. He came off the field. He came off the field actually several times during the game. He became disinterested in catching the ball. And Jerry Jeudy, he was starting to get alligator arms. So, yeah, they only scored. It was only 23-9. What do we expect? 50 to nothing? I don't know. But watching that game, Pittsburgh clearly dominated the game, so I don't have a worry. One of the concerns was the condition of the field. It was atrocious, and Pitt hadn't even played there the day before. And so to me, that's on the groundskeepers. And I think that's how Killebrew, their special teams captain, he may be out for the season with a knee injury. And Chris Boswell nearly avoided an injury when his plant foot went into a divot, and he missed his last field goal. And that was just shameful. There's no reason there was no reason for the field to be in that kind of a condition. But I think for the game against Cleveland, I think it was a very good win. Cleveland has a tough tough They had a great running game. Once they stopped that running game, well, then we saw that Dylan Gabriel, he was trying, but the problem is they became one-dimensional.
Yeah, 56 passes.
Yeah. So with the Bengals coming up, that's not a gimme game. Now you like maybe when they had Browning, you could say that hey, the Steelers should win that game no matter what. The Steelers under Mike Tomlin for away games on Thursday nights have a career 2-9 record. They are 0-8 against AFC North division rivals in Thursday night away games. And Cleveland traded Joe Flacco to Cincinnati. And Tomlin kind of expressed incredulous. He was incredulous that happened. That you give a division rival an older but still a very competent passer to a team that has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So the defense is going to have their hands full in the passing game. Cincinnati's running game, if they stay on pace, they could be under 1,000 rushing yards for the year. The last time, that's the worst rushing since the Seahawks did it in 1946.
Yeah,
that's not the Seattle Seahawks. That's the Miami Seahawks.
If Chase Brown does get it going, if they do happen to get their running game going, then yes, our defense is in for a real long night.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but then Cincinnati's defenses, they've given up a lot of rushing yards. So I would expect Pittsburgh to try to exploit that.
But I also think there's a reason why they call it the icy hot bowl. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I think Camp Hayward yelled that out during the interview, and but still, when you watch Aaron Rodgers and you watch Dylan Gabriel, who was the more mobile guy?
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers was actually moving pretty well in the pocket.
Yeah, and that's was one of my concerns at the beginning of the year, he's so far. Hey, like I said, the dream catchers work. So I'm hoping we can keep it up, for if we can keep going, 4-1, 4-1, I think we'll be all right.
I think it's the running game that's like if we shut down their run and we're able to run, then Pittsburgh should win. But if, like you said, if all of a sudden Cincinnati finds a rushing game, well, then that's going to open up the pass for them, and then that's going to create problems.
Well, we have our predictions coming up, so we'll see because that's going to be our first of. That's where we're going to start out. But in the meantime, why don't you catch us up? Is Bill still just running laps around us or what?
Indeed. So last week we had 30 picks. There were 15 games, so 30 picks. Don was on top with 16 correct. Bill just behind him with 15. But then it goes down from there. I had 12 correct. James, you had 11, and Demetrius only 10 out of 30, which is, man. So for the season, the cumulative, I'm still the caboose at 41.4%. You can tell that I don't watch much other than Steelers games based on my predictions. Demetrius is in fifth at 45.7%. Anthony, even though he didn't answer last week, he remains in fourth with 50%. Oh, no, excuse me. James, you're in fourth with 48.4%. Anthony's in third with 50%. Don climbed up to 51.1% in second. And Bill, you're at 54.9%.
And in first place, huh? Okay. All right.
Yep. And somebody named Zeno F1J asked, the bottom left guy, are you Thurium?
Thurium.
I think that was directed to you, Don.
About Ethereum, I don't understand the question. Who am I? What, Ethereum?
Is that what he said?
Hello,
What does that mean? Oh,
where's the call? Let's see.
I don't see the chat. So
I think it's a Marvel. Is it Marvel?
oh well, there you go. Because I'm more of a DC person. So
I thought that was Thurman.
It is not.
I think he's supposed to. I think that's supposed to be Thurman, isn't
it? I don't think so. I don't know. That's a great question. I hadn't thought about that. I thought he just been thorough.
I see.
I guess I'm trying to figure out what's meant by that.
I see we have some Mariner fans here. Rough start for. All right. Okay. So let's start. Bill, since you're the man, we'll start with you. Thursday night, we have the Steelers and the
Bengals.
Bungles. The Steelers are. Is that? I think that's supposed to be +5.
Yeah, it's minus 5.5. They're favored.
Oh, five and a hook. Okay.
And the over/under is 43.5.
And this is in Pittsburgh?
No, it's
Cincinnati.
in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. I'm going to take the over, and I think Pittsburgh wins, but I don't think they cover. I think the Bengals find a little something. Maybe little something they find is Joseph Vincent Flacco, age 41. He's always been a good deep ball thrower, and if there's one thing that worries me about the Steelers defense is they can give up the deep ball when their pass rush doesn't get there. Now, when the pass rush gets there, obviously Flacco is old enough and smart enough to just sort of, crumple and avoid too much damage. But yeah, I think that they'll actually get their I think they'll throw the ball to Chase Brown. He'll get out on the perimeter and get some plays. I think they'll throw their wide receivers. Their tight ends are kind of a mishmash of fun, but not always consistent players. But yeah, I think they'll find enough big plays to keep it close.
And Deshaun Elliott did not travel with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yet another
for personal reasons
about their giving up some big plays. But yeah, I think that the Bungles keep it close. So while I don't think they went outright, I think they deny the Steelers the cover. So I'll take over and I'll take the Bungles.
And the second one is the Rams, Bill. They're giving the Jaguars 3. They're playing at the Jaguars, and the over/under is 45.5.
That's probably right about right. I think the Jaguars might win this game outright, actually. I'm going to go with the Jaguars, and the over-under is the harder one on this one for me. I will go with the over, but just barely. I think maybe 47 points are scored in this game.
Don.
I want to take Pittsburgh in the over. And I'll go Jags in the under.
I'm going to go Pittsburgh and the over. And I'm going to go with the Rams and the over. So that would be on you, Dave.
Okay, I have I'm taking Pittsburgh in the over and Jacksonville in the under.
Okay. Staying with you, Dave. We have the Patriots. They're giving the Titans 7, and the over/under is 42.5.
Big spread, but I mean, Tennessee, they just let go of their coach. Pat seemed to be bringing it together. So I'm going to take the Patriots in the under.
Okay. The Eagles are giving the Vikings 2.5, and they're playing at the Vikings, but the over/under is only 43.5.
Wow. This is tough. But you see, I'm not sure what's going on with the Minnesota quarterback situation. So, and I'm thinking that the Philly is due to kind of put it all together. So I'm going to take Philly in the under in this game.
Okay. I'm going to take the Patriots and the over, and I'm going to take the Eagles and the under. Bill.
I will take the Patriots and the over, and I'll take the Eagles and the over.
Okay. Don.
I'm going to take New England in the over. I'm going to take Philly in the under.
Okay.
Wow.
Staying with you, Don. We got the Panthers giving the not yets, the Jets, 1.5, and the over under is 42.5.
I go Panthers in the over.
Okay. The Raiders, they're getting 12.5. They're playing the Chiefs, and the over under is 45.5. Don.
Ooh, that spread. I'm going to Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs and the. I go Chiefs and screw it over.
Okay. Dave.
I'm taking Carolina in the over. I mean, the Jets are just. I thought that they were gonna come together, but they still have. So they have to show me now. And then I'm going to take with that spread. Kansas City may win. I'm just thinking that the Raiders will cover. So I'm taking the Raiders in the under.
They just beat Detroit by 17. So I'm going to take the Chiefs and the over, and I'm going to take the Panthers and the under. I don't know if New York can really generate. This might be the last start for Fields. Who did I miss, Bill?
I'll take the Raiders and the under. And what was the over-under on the Jets game?
42.5.
Oof. Okay. And the Jets are getting a touchdown?
They're getting 1.5. 1.5.
Oh, wow. Okay. I will still take the Panthers, and I will take the over.
Okay. We have Miami, Bill. They're actually getting 2.5, and they're playing at Cleveland, and the over-under is 40.5.
I will take the Dolphins in the over. I think after all the drama, the Dolphins have their best game of the year and actually pull this game out late.
All right. The other game, Bill, we got the Saints getting 5.5, playing the Bears, and the over-under is 47.5.
I will take the under and the Bears.
Dave.
I'm going to take Miami in the over. Kick them while they're down. And New Orleans in the under.
Okay. I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to give that 5.5 and the under. And I'm going to take 2.5. All right. I'm going to take I'm going to take the Clowns in the under. Don.
I'm going to take the Bears in the under. And I'll take the Dolphins and the over.
Okay.
No. I'm going to Dolphins in the under on that one. My bad.
Okay.
Under?
Yeah, under.
Okay, Sunday afternoon, Don. We got the Giants, and they're getting 7. They're playing at the Broncos, and the over-under is 39.5. Can Scatterboo run can he run into thin air up there? What do you think, Don?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Denver in the under.
Okay. And the second game is the Colts, and they're actually getting 1.5, but they're playing at the Chargers. And the over-under is 48.5.
Ooh, I'll go Chargers in the under.
Okay. Dave.
Let's see what Scatterboo can do. I'm going to take the Giants in the under. And then this is a good test for Indianapolis on whether they're a diamond or not. So I'm going to take Indianapolis in the under.
All right. I am also going to take Indianapolis, but I'm going to take the over. And for the Giants, I'm going to take. I like Denver's defense, and I like him at home. Bo Nix or Dart. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to give it that 7, and I'm going to say it's going to be over. Bill.
I will take the Broncos and the over, and I will take the Chargers and the under.
Okay. Second Sunday afternoon, Bill, we had the Packers actually giving the Cardinals 6.5, and the over-under is 44.5.
I will take the Packers this is in Arizona?
Yes.
I will take the Packers and the over.
We had the Commanders giving the Cowboys 2.5. Over-under is 54.5. Bill.
These are two bad defenses, but I don't think they're quite that bad. I will take the Commanders and the under.
Okay. The Sunday night game, Bill, we got the Falcons, and they're getting 2.5. They're playing at the 49ers, and the over-under is 47.5.
I will take the. It's pretty evenly matched. I will take the Falcons, and I will take the under.
Okay. Dave, we're going to start with the Packers.
Yep. I'll take Green Bay in the over.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take Washington in the over because I think the Dallas offense can score. And I'm going to take Atlanta in the under.
Atlanta and the under. Okay. I'm also going to take Atlanta and the under. I'm going to take the Commanders and the over. And I'm also going to take the Packers and the over. Don.
I'm going to take the Packers and the over. I'm going to take Dallas in the under. And I'm going to take the Falcons in the over.
Okay. All right. Don, Monday night, we got another doubleheader here. So let's give me your Monday night predictions and your final thoughts. We'll start with the Bucks. They are getting 5.5. They're playing at the Lions.
Ooh.
And the over-under is 52.5.
I'm going to go Detroit This is a big one, but only because they're playing in Detroit. I go
Now,
Detroit.
supposedly, they do have Mike Evans is back. Bucky Irving is still doubtful, so it's probably still White as their starting running back. But there is a possibility of having at least a limited Mike Evans.
I'm gonna go. I'll go Detroit in the under.
Okay,
And
then we had the Texans getting just three. They're playing at the Seahawks, and the over/under is 41 and a half.
I have to go Seattle in the over on that one.
Okie doke. Final thoughts, Don.
Final thoughts. Well, so going back to the Red River Shootout between Texas and Oklahoma, great game. Like I said, I watched it in church during a wedding on mute. I made sure I sat in the back. Of course, I'm in a church where no one speaks English; it's all Spanish. So I could like do groans and stuff in English, and they didn't say anything. But
you watch it in Espanol.
Yeah, but like I said, I think Arch Manning is he's having fun, and that's a good sign. However, the one thing that scares me is that A&M is still undefeated. I don't want to see A&M win any more games this year, so I'm bite my tongue, and I'm gonna wear I'm gonna find me one of those Arkansas pig suey hats that looks ridiculous. I'm gonna wear it, and I'm gonna be pig suey all night on all day during that before the game. So horns.
Wait a minute, Don. If they win, are you going to wear it on the program?
I have to find one first. But yeah, if Arkansas wins, I'll wear a pig suit hat. That's
fine. No, not if Arkansas wins. If Texas A&M wins.
Oh hell no! I'm not bullshit. I'm not wearing anything. I'm not wearing anything Oklahoma, and I'm not wearing anything A&M. So, but I have no really deep thoughts. Life is good. Things are kind of slowing down. There's peace in the Middle East right now. So, not a whole lot to talk about. So, it's all good here in San Antonio. I wish it would get a little bit colder. I like cold weather, and I'm tired of this 9 degrees in October shit. But I'm good.
Hey, you got our weather down there. The weather that we're looking for, but it's not that it's bad. We finally had some rain these last couple of days, so we're doing that pretty good out here in California. What do you say, Bill? Your thoughts and your predictions.
Okay, and so for the last, that's the Monday night games.
Yes. You got
yeah.
You got the Bucks getting 5.5 at the Lions, and the over under
in Detroit, right?
Yep, in Detroit.
I don't think the Lions cover that. They might win, but I don't think they cover that. I think that this is a real. I don't know if it's 52.5 points shootout, but I think it is a bit of a shootout. I think that Tampa Bay denies them the cover. And 52.5. Let's see. 28, 24 is 52. I'm gonna go with the under. I think they just missed it though. I think it's a 52-point game. And then Texans and Seattle. And this is in Seattle?
Right.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with the Texans and the over.
Okay. And final thoughts?
My final thoughts. Well, here's what I will say for my final thoughts. On this day in 2018, Paul Allen passed away. One of those .com billionaires, as they call them, or millionaires. Or, I don't know if he got to a billion, but he keeps close. A Seattle native, and of course, one of the co-founders of Microsoft, a childhood friend of Bill Gates, and a person who truly loved, obviously, Seattle. I mean, like, it was clear and obvious. And I have no particular vested interest in the Supersonics. Basketball is probably my third favorite of the major sports, behind football and baseball. A close third. It's right there, right behind baseball, amongst the sort of the big four or whatever, spectator sports. But it just doesn't seem right for Seattle not to have, the Supersonics. I think Oklahoma City has done a good job of supporting, the team, but it's not the Supersonics. I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like with the Browns, right? I mean, they say that it's the Browns, and supposedly all the records and legacy and history carried over, but it's not the same team. It is not. The real Browns are the Ravens, which must be super galling to people who live in Cleveland. But I don't know what it'll take. I mean, it's funny, we keep hearing whispers and rumors about teams popping up in other countries. They're going to establish a franchise in Europe or in Central America or Mexico or whatever. And I'm not saying that maybe that isn't a move down the road, but make it right. Seattle is a basketball town. They loved the Supersonics and still love the Supersonics. Like, if you go to Seattle, you see people walking around in Supersonics gear. They have never let it go, and they shouldn't let it go. They should have a franchise. So that's my final thought. Come on. Bring back the Seattle Supersonics.
All right. Dave, before you do yours, I'm going to go with the Lions here. And I'm going to say it's going to be under. And I'm going with the Seahawks and the over. So, Dave, take us home.
All right. So I have my.
That's quite good, Dave.
What's that?
See, I did the best I could. We're about 5 minutes over or so.
That's all right. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay in the over and Houston in the under. Both the visiting teams on Monday night. But hey, it is what it is. My final thoughts. I attended the Steelers game against the Browns. Somebody was using my seat, so what I normally do is I buy a cheap seat and then I stand up in what's called the rotunda. So that's what I did. And in the rotunda, I usually am on the west end, but this time I was on the east end. And there was a guy there at the beginning of the game with a huge Mexican flag that he hung up, and it's been there for years and years. This guy, Guillermo, actually, he lived in Minnesota for 33 years, Mexican-American. And I asked, well, how come you're not a Vikings fan if you lived in Minnesota for 33 years? And he said, well, I've been in the U.S. for 40 years, but I grew up in Mexico a Steelers fan. He's been a Steelers fan like since the 70s. And with it, he was talking to different people. There was probably a good dozen people that had flown up from Mexico for the game. And they weren't up at his flag, but they were scattered around in the stadium. So that's where I was watching the game from. I was standing at one end of the Mexican flag, which is it's hooked to a railing. So it's it's not in anybody's vision line because it's up against the railing, and then you can see it from the rest of the stadium. And then at the end of the third quarter, the Steelers had the ball, and there's still a question. The Steelers are only up 16-9, and all of a sudden, I get shoved out of the way, and I'm like, "What the hell's happening?" And then there's this big burly guy. He grabs, and it took a few seconds for it to process, but I realized he's trying to unhook this flag. And I just instinctively went to stop him, and then he punched me in the chest. I didn't get hit in the face. I'm 68 years old, and it's been many, many decades since I've been involved in a physical altercation. You'd have to go to the 1980s maybe. And so a melee broke out because other people were around, and apparently he had a partner there. And they were bound and determined to take that flag down. And I extricated myself out of the melee, because there were fists flying, arms going, and I kind of backed away from it.
Sounds like you were in the dog pound.
Well, they weren't Browns fans. They were Steelers fans. And I went to the there was a clubhouse club entrance nearby, and I went there and I said, you got to get security here, and you got a fight going on 30 feet away from here. And I get back there, and a young kid, security guard with a yellow jacket, he was all of 140 pounds. He wades in there, and for his efforts, he gets punched in the face twice, gets a bloody mouth, lands a couple shots himself. So he's all kind of hyped up. But then eventually the crowd kind of gets to people, and then two Pittsburgh police come down. And I just pointed at the two guys, and then they just took them away, took them down the ramp and away. So I don't know if they were arrested or just simply ejected from the game. But obviously what their objection was is they did not like this Mexican flag in the stadium. And so for me, the way I look at it, and from talking to Guillermo, for these fans that had flown up from Mexico, that's a sign of respect for them. They're showing that the Steelers have a global fan base. And these small-minded people, they were big-bodied, because they were large people, probably 280, big fat people, but they were too small-minded to understand that. And but what I was very pleased with was the reaction of everybody that was around her, because they weren't Mexicans. These were just regular fans that were watching the game. Once they realized what was happening, they did manage, they almost got the flag off. And actually, I was watching a replay from the Steelers, and you can see the flag kind of draping off. But then we were able to get it back and get it back into the place for the rest of the game. And then I go to the gate, and then by this time, the fourth quarter started, because probably about 3 or 4 minutes have gone by. And the score's 23-9. I'm like, what happened? I missed the touchdown. But I'm okay and everything. But I just wanted to point out that there's no place, not only in stadiums, but no place anywhere for that type of behavior. And I don't care. I would have responded the same way if it had been an LGBTQ flag, if it had been a Proud Boys flag, if it had been a U.S. flag or whatever. I defended that Mexican flag because those people were just there to enjoy the game. They had the permission of the team to have the flag there, and there's no reason to disrupt it. And I would have done it. It could have been the Proud Boys. And if they had a flag up there and they were allowed to be there and somebody tried to rip it down, I would have reacted the exact same way. and there's just no room for this in sports stadiums or anywhere else for this type of rancor that's going on between people. So that's my final thought for tonight.
All right, guys. Well, hey, I'll see everybody next week, and thanks everybody for their time. And Dave, let's hope we can find out what's going on with Penn State if they
Yeah.
can get around. Bill, I don't know. Are we going to see an Ohio State Indiana matchup this year, or are they missing each other this year?
Well, they don't play in the regular season. They might see each other in the Big Ten championship.
Oh, okay. Don,
what I wanted to mention, Jay, I'm going to be gone for the next couple Wednesdays.
okay.
But what I will do, go ahead and go through the picks,
Okay.
and I'll be able to get them off of your feed.
Okay.
And I'll probably just text my picks as we go.
Well, you're the stat guy, so we'll trust that you'll make your picks before the game.
I'll text them to you guys. But if you can just go through the picks on the show, and then I'll get a recording of it and make sure that I get everything down.
Yeah, we'll know if he goes from caboose to engine real quick.
all of a sudden, I have 30 out of 32 picks. Right?
Don, what are we going to see from Texas? They playing this week?
They're playing Kentucky.
Okay. All right.
At 7 o'clock.
Close game.
It'll be close just because Kentucky plays teams real close. I mean, that's their most operandi. They play close, they just never win. So it should be something like I'd say 31-21 or something like that.
All right, guys. Well, hey, I will see everybody next week, and hopefully we'll see how everybody's teams